Hello, English students. Did you know that you can improve your writing drastically through proofreading, editing, and revising? These are really significant parts of making your writing better overall. So I have a PowerPoint that I want to go through quickly with you. Hopefully this won't be too long. And these are just some tips and tricks to help you improve your writing through editing, proofreading, and revising. Now, students are often mistaken that editing and proofreading and revising are all kind of the same thing, but I'm going to explain the differences. So let's move on. I get my PowerPoint to work here. So here we have a cartoon that says, "We loved all the words in your manuscript, but we were wondering if you could maybe put them in a completely different order." Frequently when we are asked to edit or proofread or revise, we're suddenly finding ourselves that we kind of have to shift gears and think differently and maybe change the way that we were thinking about things. And it's usually we write our way through an understanding of the thing that we want to say. And when we go back and revise, we realize, okay, we need to put things in a different logical order and that kind of thing. And when we look with fresh eyes, we also hopefully see sometimes the very often silly mistakes that we've made with spelling, that sometimes spell check doesn't catch everything. And punctuation and grammar, we just kind of gloss over them because that's just how the human brain works. When we're so close to our piece of work, we know what it is that we're trying to say, and so when we revise and we read through our material, we often just kind of skip over it. We're not reading as closely as if we were looking at, say, a classmate's work, right? So it's important to come back to your work with fresh eyes so that you can revise or re-see how things are and hopefully catch some of the mistakes that you've made. So what happens when you don't proofread? Well, I think this is a perfect example. Former President Donald Trump got grilled because of this tweet that he sent out at 9 o'clock on May 30th of 2017. Despite the constant negative press, covfefe. And what the heck is covfefe? Obviously, he meant press coverage, but did not proofread before he sent his tweet, and for some reason did not go back and remove the tweet and repost, because we all know that we send tweets and we send something with a spelling mistake and we look stupid and we're like, heck, we don't even have an edit function. But you can go back and delete the tweet and then rewrite what it is you meant to say. So proofreading obviously is important. And why? Well, this happens. So it made it into Urban Dictionary when you want to say coverage, but your hands are too small to hit all the letters on your keyboard. Or this, somebody made up a Pokemon card of covfefe looking like Donald Trump. And this, a coffee mug that is actually for sale. A nonsense word tweeted by Donald Trump on the 31st of May, actually it was the 30th of May, 2017, the perfect metaphor for the entire Trump administration. Forgive me if you are a Trump supporter, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just making fun of the fact that somebody in an extreme power, a position of power, didn't even have the smarts to proofread a message that was going out to a wide-scale public. So that being said, will you forget to proofread? No, just like Jim, right? Okay, so proofreading includes grammar, sentence structure, formatting, punctuation, spelling, capitalization, all those nitty-gritty things that we often take for granted. So you want to fix grammatical and spelling and punctuation errors. And after you write every draft and tweet, And before submitting it for comments, that's the perfect time to look through again, even if you feel like you've looked through it 1,000 times. It is always a good idea to look through your draft before submitting it. And I'm guilty of this too. I often will send emails or responses and, I don't look it over, and then I send it, and then I read through it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm such a dope for making that spelling mistake. Yeah, I teach English. Okay. You also want to check for the flow and the tone via the organization, your intro, and your conclusion. And of course, you want to make sure that there are no typos. Obviously, when we're dealing with our phones and we're sending out tweets or Snapchat or an email on our devices, we often overlook that autocorrect sometimes will put in what it thinks that we want to say when it actually isn't. Yes, I am not trying to say duck. You get my meaning, right? So yeah, it's always good to make sure there are no typos. So what are the differences between editing and revising? Are they the same? Well, no, they are not the same. Of course, he doesn't know either. Okay, so hopefully we'll find out. Here are some handy acronyms to illustrate the differences between revise and edit. So revise, we have ARMS, which is add, remove, move, and substitute. And for edit, we have CUPS, capitalize, usage, punctuation, spelling. So the difference is here, editing entails proofreading, right? They are one, they go hand in hand. So you're going to correct typographical or grammatical errors. And of course, you want to simplify wording or clarify your meaning. Whereas on the other side, revising, you're going to make substantive changes. That means you're going to take big portions of your text and either completely remove them or move them to a different part of your paper. There may be sentences that don't make sense that you have to revise so that they really are reflecting what it is you're trying to say, the message that you're trying to get across. So yeah, reorder your paragraphs, delete sections, rewrite sections. Of course, this type of large-scale revision is a lot easier when you are composing electronically as opposed to handwriting your work. I know that in the past, I've had many students who prefer to draft their essays and assignments by handwriting. That's fine. That's very old school, and those students are not old by any means. But it is so much easier when you're composing electronically in your Word software, word processing program and software, to just highlight and cut and paste complete sections of your paper and move it to where it may make more sense. Also, it's just easier to delete sections, right? All you have to do is highlight and delete, and it's gone. Of course, you can always undo that if you think you made a mistake, but the main idea here is that editing and revising are not the same. So remember ARMS and remember CUPS. So in addition to the assigned reading for class, I also have this page that's set up talking about a few of the revision strategies that you can use. The first one here is called WORMS, what I really mean to say. I'm not going to read through all of these, but I just want to tell you that this one is, I find it to be particularly effective when I'm having a sentence that I'm just not happy with, or I'm struggling with, or if there's a passage that just doesn't seem to work the way that I want it to work. And using this worm strategy is really helpful in gaining clarity for that awkward or clumsy writing that you're dealing with. So what you do is underline or circle the sentence and then write on a piece of paper or type it up in a separate document and write 7 or 8 new sentences that start with the beginning, what I really mean to say is, and then each sentence, you tend to clarify and really hone in what it is that you're really trying to convey in your writing. So that one's pretty helpful. Says and does refers to what paragraphs say and what they do. So, and I'll go over this in a different lecture, but paragraphs all have various functions within an essay. And it's good to know what each paragraph's function is within the essay. That helps you to decide where it should be located in the essay. I mean, for instance, we can start off with the really easy ones. We have an introduction paragraph, which the main purpose of the introduction is to introduce the topic and have your thesis statement. And we also have the conclusion, right? We have the conclusion paragraph at the end of the essay, and that summarizes and kind of restates the main idea of the essay itself. However, each paragraph can also be summarized within as a sentence. And this can help you to really understand what it is you're saying and make sure that your essay is organized in the most logical way. I provide you with a revision example where I use worms. So I encourage you to take a look at that. Again, I'm not going to read all the way through it. Then there is something called reverse outlining. So oftentimes you'll have an assignment for an essay that you have to write an outline, right? You write an outline, you have your introductory paragraph, maybe you have your working thesis, and then you have an outline of what you're going to say in all your body paragraphs. Well, this one is doing it in reverse. So once you've written your draft, sometimes it's helpful to try to construct an outline in the reverse. And what I mean is you're taking the written form and then you're kind of constructing the outline based on how you have written the essay. And again, this can help you to see if there are places where things just don't make sense logically and maybe move them around so that they make better sense. And then this last one is called Marie Kondo, and I found it on the Write or Die Tribe website. And if you don't know who Marie Kondo is, she's this Japanese organizing expert who focuses on decluttering and helping people to really live lives that have a lot of joy. And her big thing is, does it spark joy? So if you're trying to decide whether to keep something or whether to declutter it, you hold it and you ask yourself, does this spark joy? And we can do something similarly with our writing, especially if you're the type of writer who just writes lots and lots and lots and you're not sure where you might need to cut certain segments of your writing. So you can go through, you choose a sentence that's in each paragraph that doesn't spark joy, and you get rid of it. And if it doesn't affect the meaning of the paragraph, then perhaps it wasn't meant to be there in the first place. If it does affect the meaning, then you should consider keeping it. Even if it doesn't spark so much joy. Perhaps then, if it doesn't spark joy, you can work with the what I'm really mean to say, the worms exercise, and figure out how it can spark joy for you. So those are some revision strategies. So I hope you use them and I hope they are helpful for you. Good luck, everybody. Bye.